Now, the serious cost of living pressures that this is distracting everybody from, or distracting the Prime Minister from, apparently, is driving down the birth rate to alarming levels, Tim, down about 1.5 at the moment. No wonder we need to bring immigrants in, even if we've lost control of that a bit. Should we be concerned about this? Do we need Peter Costello's, one for mum, one for dad, one for the country?
I think we should be concerned about it. Also, when having children becomes a luxury, that's something that didn't even exist as a concept during the Depression for obvious manifold reasons. There weren't the same sort of contraception available. There weren't the same sort of lifestyle choices for women, obviously, during the 20s and 30s. But when when there's additional pressures on top of the existing ones on our birth rate, yes, it's very concerning. You don't want to end up like Japan, where for some time now, the market for adult diapers has been bigger than the market for babies' diapers.
What a frightening!
You want to bring things down to you want to get the younger kids coming through rather than the old timers hanging around.
Yeah, what a frightening and alarming and statistic you've just shared us about Japan. What about you, Mark? You'd be in the age frame. A lot of your friends in the age of having children, they all putting it off to try and buy a house.
Mate, I can tell you now, this is a big announcement, actually. I had the 12-week scan just this week, actually. I'm doing my bit for the country.
Congratulations.
And bringing a kid into the world, which is pretty awesome, yeah. That being said, absolutely terrified. I don't know how we're going to afford it, so we've just got the one for now. The 0.5, we'll have to think about maybe later next year. We'll see how we go.
Yeah.
Well done,
wow,
well done.
That's very good news, brilliant news. We'll catch up and chat more about it later. Let's go to the US and talk about this interview today. It was staggering to see. No matter what, you could have asked Kamala Harris about life on Mars, and she would have got the answer somehow back to Donald Trump. Let's have a look.
Rhetoric that has come out of Donald Trump. Donald Trump has been running for office. If you listen to Donald Trump, rhetoric coming from Donald Trump being a threat. Donald Trump is on the ballot. Let's go back to Donald Trump. I think the American people have a concern about Donald Trump.
She's going to be waking up in the middle of the night, Tim, screaming Donald Trump.
Well, she's just been done for plagiarism. Turns out she lifted a bunch of stuff from a book in 2009 straight from Wikipedia. So she copies a lot. And also, maybe Donald Trump's got a sort of some form of plagiarism claim for the amount of content he filled up in that interview there. He's not even around, and he's still being name-checked by Kamala. By the way, an interesting sort of thing, if you ever Google Kamala Harris speech, it's almost inevitable. It's about 100% match. That search will also include the phrase train wreck, because her speech or interview, because just about every time she starts chatting to people, it goes wildly off the rails. You wouldn't book a train ticket in the US if you had the same rate of train crashes as her conversations.
She is pretty incredible to watch, Mark. I'm constantly staggered by what comes out of her mouth. And this is no matter who she interviews, the soft interviews or the hard interviews, it's all bad for her because it always ends in mush.
Yeah, you're right. Because she's a bad politician.
Go ahead, Mark.
She's a bad politician and a bad candidate, of course. You're right, 100%, lads. But I've got to say, I actually prefer this Kamala. I think it's a little bit more authentic. I think she actually does better in these adversarial interviews. Do you know what I mean? I think it's the meandering ones where she starts talking about America and inspiration and growing up in a middle-class family. There's no highlight reel to this. At least this is a violent train wreck to watch. At least it's somewhat entertaining. And I think it's a little bit more fun.
Exactly.
She's a prosecutor. This is what she does.
She shows a bit of fight in this, at least. You're right. If she sits there talking to Oprah Winfrey for an hour, it's the whole country's deflated. Talking about bad politicians, have a look at the Liberal leader of the ACT, Elizabeth Lee. She doesn't like this journo.
Are you finished?
I am. Answer the question.
Are you finished or not? I will answer the question in my own way, Ian. You don't get to dictate how I answer the question.
Okay.
Thanks.
I love the way we have to blur out the gesture she made towards him, Tim. I don't think it was a thumbs up.
Yeah, I think it was like, maybe it was maybe pinky swear. Who knows? But she did get in a bit of strife there. But what is it with Canberra where like even the libs are kind of bolshy and unpleasant and kooky? It's got to be something that's wrong with the place. I mean, you spent, I think you got time off for good behaviour in the end, Chris, but you spent you did a couple of stretches in the ACT crazy house. Is that the sort of behaviour that's routine there?
I said, normally when I give someone the finger, I want them to see it. You don't do it to their back. You don't do it to their back. Just quickly, Mark, we've got time to have a look at this. You like to think you live in the arts capital of the world there in Melbourne. I know. What do you make of this statue that's popped up on a suburban Melbourne street? Surely this has got some artistic merit. Ray gun.
Oh, mate. See, the thing is, it looks dumb when you look at it. Just like the Olympic performance, it looks quite dumb when you look at it. But unlike the Olympic performance, the more you look at it, the more impressive it gets. It's like, look at the balance. It's gone into the ground. It's actually, the paper mache is good quality. Someone in Northcote's got a lot of time on their hands. I reckon the King and Queen should go and visit that, I reckon.
It's great stuff. Yeah, it'll probably be there for the royal visit. Thanks for joining us, Tim and Mark. Have a great weekend. We'll catch you next week.